Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. I'm so glad that you're here. If you don't know me, my name is Andrea Abay-Abay. I am a certified human design, living your design guide. I'm also an analyst, and I am a longtime student of Darshana Deborah Mathews. And today we're going to be so lucky to be able to hear so much of what the wisdom she has to offer us. And I've got to know Darshana over the last 4 years. If you have been studying with Darshana, welcome. So glad you could make it. This webinar is part of a series of webinars that Darshana is going to be offering up to us. Darshana Deborah Mathews, she's a certified human design analyst and also a teacher with extensive advanced studies in the human design system. She instructs students at the Human Design America College and also at the International Human Design School. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Theater, a minor in Religious Studies, and a Master of Fine Arts in Acting. Darshana's life has taken her on many roads, and somehow they all contained a common theme. This theme has been the deep drive to understand existence. So Darshana has worked as an actress professionally. She's got a beautifully open, completely open G center. And she's also been on the stage and in television, as well as she's been a clairvoyant or an empath, a past life regression therapist, and an astrologer. She has studied and worked with systems like the Enneagram, various forms of energy work and meditation, and other spiritual interests such as essence exploration and awareness. I'd love it if you could share with us what that is, Darshana. Throughout the years, she met many on her path who are also seeking the elusive actualization of self-realization. Each of the modalities that she's worked with seems to address parts of this. However, she never experienced or saw anyone else experience a sense of integrated, quote-unquote, awakening. Then in 2005, she met human design. There was a recognition of awakening as a possibility as she began to learn about human design. Darshana sank deeper into understanding existence through the filter and tools of the human design system. Through her 10-year exploration with following her strategy and authority, she has begun to feel the veil that shields this Maya from the totality to become less dense, less isolating, less of a life about struggle to survive, and more, much more, about the soft ease of living in her truth, living in her design. Darshana now lives in Copenhagen, Denmark, where she offers sessions, classes, ongoing guidance in the experiment of living through the tool of human design. Once a year, she returns to California and offers human design in the San Francisco Bay Area and in Santa Cruz. Hopefully someday she'll come and bless us with her presence here in Mount Shasta. So Darshana, I want to welcome you to the webinar and thank you for being here to commune with us. I'm going to go ahead and invite Darshana onto the stage. Hi, Darshana.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm like trying to figure out all my mechanics here.
Yes, it's a new thing. I know you're on a different computer than normal, but you look fantastic. I love the Buddha head behind you.
Yeah, he's so lovely. He's a big piece of wood carved in there.
Pretty.
Yeah.
That's nice. So would you mind sharing your design with those of us who aren't familiar with who you are yet?
Sure. Yeah. It's so neat to have a design to share, so you can actually speak of what your energetics are without the flavor of conditioning and that. I'm a projector. Oh, got to remember to look in the camera. I'm a projector. I'm a splenic authority projector. So my invitations are informed by my splenic awareness, or this existential awareness that the spleen has. Mm-hmm. And I'm a 3/5, just like you are. And I am on the cross of service, which is a logical cross. I only have the spleen and the root defined, but I have two channels there. I have the channel of judgment, a design of insatiability, and then the channel of transformation, which comes out of the 54-4, the gate of enlightenment and darkenment. And it's It's actually I'm looking for my water. It's my moon.
The driving force in your life.
Yeah. So this is the channel of transformation, a design of being driven. So my driving force is being driven up the channel of transformation for my tribe, which is kind of cool. I mean, I didn't really understand it, obviously, but in working with human design and understanding and looking at my Chiron return, which is the cross of individualism, a 6-3 profile, that's the filter, where I was driving towards is to be of service towards an individualism. And yay, right at my Chiron return, I met human design. And so all those other things like essence work, which in essence is tuning into the essential being, which is what we would in human design call our design, or let's rephrase that, maybe say the consciousness that is an aspect or being expressed through this unique personality structure and this unique form. And so it's a logical cross, but it has no detail gates. So I'm a logical being without the details.
Well, it's funny you say that, but having gone through so much of this training with you, I took my Living Your Design with you 4 years ago, and then ABC's cartography, PTL 1, 2, and 4. I've gotten a lot of detail from you that maybe, when you look for specifics, yes, sometimes the word may elude you. We both have the undefined head center, and sometimes we lose focus. But what I love about you is your way of your poetry of being able to explain different aspects of the human design system that tend to be kind of on the far reaches of it, that most people, when they come to human design, don't necessarily know about or study, but you bring it back home to the foundations of the very basics. And that's what I'm really excited to hear about today, because we're going to be talking about the G center, right?
Yeah. And being the center, the G being the center, the G center. Yeah. And that it actually is a microcosm of the macrocosm, that we are a mixture of this duality that we experience or have the illusion of. And that is what, when we had the singularity, we're going to look at that today. I've brought in, I just finished teaching the Bond 2 in the Rave Cosmology course. So just to let you guys know, this is actually step 1. I'm going to be going on with this. I'm fascinated by being able to share something so profound as human design and the understanding of the relationship between us in the matrix, in the totality. And that's what all of human design does, clearly. But my orientation with it has been more mystical. And the cosmology courses, together with understanding the foundation of the body graph, the foundation of the knowledge, all the details. This is what I'd like to work with those who are open to joining this series of webinars, because I am driven and insatiably here to share something that will bring the enlightening, to bring light to the understanding of this mystical world that we live in, and to make it a little bit easier, a little bit less, to bring more ease, not just for me, definitely for me, but also for all who can resource from this. It's also something I'm very aware that some of you will tune to me. It will be on my fractal, will find my frequency correct. Some will think I'm totally wonky, and that's okay, because we are here to meet the ones that we're here to meet. And if we aren't meeting those, or if others are not tuning to us, it's beautiful, because there's another being that's here that's going to be bringing something out.
And for you, I'd like to recognize you because you do have that design of insatiability, but it's a logical channel. So you're able to step us through the logic, but also bring us to that awareness of the potential of transformation and help those of us who are attuned to you all rise up together. And I just love that. So thank you so much for your support over the years. And I want to invite you to go ahead and share your screen if you'd like to get started on the presentation.
Today, what we're going to look at is to establish the relationship that we have between the totality and our own unique being held together by the magnetic monopole, our design and personality crystal. Something that's come up for me, and that's what I really got excited about sharing with everyone, is that we start at the center. And the center in the Bantu, which is the cosmology course that Ra gave about the beginning of our universe, also began with the center. And there is a relationship between us and it. And I thought that if we can start in this really vastly large way out with the universe and pull it in and begin to see how deeply interconnected and actually a part of it we are, so that when we begin to align our frequency through following our strategy and allowing our authority to inform that strategy, so that we are actually living out the imprint that we had when we were born, then we drop into this movement that is there, that began when there was a singularity and it suddenly exploded or banged out and became this duality that we're in. So when we're looking for love, I mean, what is love? You know, when we say in human design, love yourself, we're saying, in essence, and we'll see this with you know, we'll see this with the work we're going to do. And I really want to honor that everything that I'm doing, while it's being filtered through me and through my peculiarities and my interests and my limitations, it is grounded in the work by Ra Uru Hu that he gave to us. And I am deeply, deeply grateful to him for his work and the possibility for having a chance to make sense of existence by using this system as a projector and to be able to share it.
That's something that is very important to me too, that it's grounded in how Ra expressed this into the world, so that we can each take this and channel it through our design.
Yeah, and that's what many people do who go into offshoots. Mm-hmm. I find, and that's beautiful too. This is what we're here to do, is to individuate. We're here to differentiate. Mm-hmm. And again, how can we not be? We all move from that center going out on our own journey. But yeah, I just find his work so incredibly delicious. Okay, you can, this is, well, and then we have the title for this, The Dismantling of Your Mind's Illusion of Self. Mm-hmm. So the illusion of separateness. Let's go to the next slide.
All right.
This is from Ra. This is self-explanatory in a way. The love of humanity is not about loving your neighbor, which is a tough business. It's not about that. It's about being yourself. And this is what generates love in the world. So falling back into that center, you know, or aligning with it, being present as a witness to the way the energetics move through our body and the expression that we are as a being through the channels that move through the G center, the behavior, our unique behavior, our way of awakening, our way of being initiated into awakening, our leadership, our capacity to be a witness, our capacity to be in the flow and to follow our unique beat and enter into journeys of discovery. And being creative role models. We are all of those things. We are. Some have definitions, some are open and express it through their own definition, their own strategy and authority. Next slide. Through the understanding of our design and the grounding in presence through awareness. This was my description for the course. that actually I'm going to be offering a course in Italy in June and in October. And this is, again, where I wanted to go through to ground into this work through the G Center. So through the understanding of our design and the grounding in presence through awareness, we begin to surrender to the direction of our form. This surrender aligns us with our unique purpose and brings to expression the fullness of love. So as we relax into our being, our passenger, we enable the flow of the consciousness field to stream through us and dance in the differentiation that we are here to share. Then we meet our true self, this bridge between the soul's essence and the soul's purpose. So let's see how we do that. Next slide. I have a couple quotes before we land in this. This was a really beautiful graphic I found that's related to Freemasonry, and we'll look at that next time we meet too, a little bit about the relationship between the G Center and Freemasonry. And anyway, it's the most mystical thing to understand about the Maya, that everything is moving, that your body is nothing but an incredible moving frequency of electrons and protons and neutrons and nothing else. Bubbling and vibrating. It's all frequency. So, and we are hurtling through space. So we have this shattering from the singularity into this experience of consciousness and form. We have the shattering, and we have the magnetic monopole holding it all together. And we have this incredible movement then through space.
Beautiful. And you know, Darshana, this is reminding me that when I was listening to Ra expressing the Abantu, that shattering wasn't two forces coming together, but actually one singularity splitting apart. Would you share a little bit about that? Like, how does that feel different to think of, a yin and a yang crystal came together and they shattered? No, it was actually one unique wholeness that split apart. What does that mean to us?
Yeah, well, we actually will look at that. That's great that you bring that up. We could just move to the next slide.
All right, perfect.
Yeah. This is one of the Bantu plates from Ra. And there's a slide actually that it shows the relationship between the Ban and the two and how they surround the center. Because as you were saying, we are aspects of the form principle of the whole. There was a whole, there was a center. And then it shattered and became a duality. And the duality then became yin, and what we experience is yang, which is form, rather energy. But actually, Ra said that the yang that we call yang is actually a yangish kind of yin. And that's why in human design, we have this as the form consciousness. We are here as form. This is matter. This is form that we're here, that's in movement. But the understanding that everything is driven by that form principle will help us again to return to the dynamics of our own design and allow us to relax into it. Everything was compressed and dormant as a non-shattered aspect, and that was the core before the start. If Ra said that if we could take all of our design crystals and we could, after that shattering of the crystal, if we could put them all back together again from exactly the way that they had shattered, like rewind the movie, we would have then the design crystal of the totality. And so can you hear that? How it's a yin and a yangish yin, the design crystal of the totality. There was substance there that somehow then went into movement as well. And this is what we are. we are then this aspect of that form principle. On the plate, it says that the program formula was compressed and dormant. And the compression is all about being held together by that non-shattered aspect. He says at the core before the start, then on impact, and he doesn't tell us what that was. He didn't receive the information of what that was, but there was an impact. There was a something that began. And it would be fascinating to know, right? You know, in a lot of the research I've done on the Big Bang, or there's lots of theories out there now about how we started. That perhaps we are the inverse of a black hole, you know, that the unfolding of the universe is actually the collapsing in of another one. We don't know. We just know that there was a singularity, and that as that began, the Ra says in the plate, then on impact, the race began. First, the light piercing the darkness, and then the string close behind laying out the lines. And the string is what we experience through the neutrinos, which is giving us our consciousness field. Don't try and, I'm giving you samples of the Bantu. It's a very complex course and understanding. So this is simply to give you a sense of it because of where we're going with it, to see how, when you can see this, oh, let's see, you'll have to, well, in the plate, you see the triangle with the little green, yeah, that's the center, right? And it's being expressed out through that, the original core of the center, being expressed out now through substance, through neutrinos. After that singularity, as it began to expand out, it began to coagulate or condense or, you know, create a slowing down, which allowed for a condensing.
We have a question that maybe could help a little bit some of the people who are new to design. Would you please explain what the consciousness field is?
The consciousness field, according to what the information was that we've received, that we work with in human design, because, you know, a lot of people have a lot of ideas or ways of expressing consciousness field, the or understanding it. But what we're working with is the understanding that the consciousness, first of all, is you, right? The person that just asked that question, you know, the awareness that said, but what's the consciousness field, right? You know, and so we know that we've got personality structure, we've got form, but there's something more. There's this awareness. And in the expanding out of our universe, and also in the place of our own solar system, we have then our life here on Earth, and we are aware of that. And we take in the neutrinos that are passing through billions and trillions every millisecond. And they have mass, they have substance. So they are creating a relationship with our form. So they have form and we have form, and there's a relational field. So they are the data stream that is bringing to us the possibility for us to go, whoa, there's something passing through me. I'm aware of it. It's shifting me, because whenever this moves through a that, there's a bit of thisness that is in the experience of the thatness. So then our capacity to be aware is what is observing this. And that is what our journey is to be, to watch how right now, I didn't run the chart for today, but right now we're in the middle of a specific, unique, energetic, right? And it's conditioning all of us. We're all being conditioned by 70% of the neutrinos that are coming from our sun, and then the rest of them that are coming in from outside our solar system, from deep space, from stars, because neutrinos are produced by stars, and our sun is a star. Does that help you make sense of that? The consciousness field is the data stream, or the potential conscious that comes through that we have the capacity to be aware of, and that is the consciousness.
It makes sense to me. That same questioner asked, but we align to that field through strategy and authority. How does that happen?
Well, you know, you're imprinted. You are, the moment you came out of your mom's belly, you were imprinted by the neutrinos of that moment. You wear, it's kind of like you put on a cloak or, you know, stain the table or something. You're wearing the imprint of that moment. And you then have and that moment is not gone. It's at that time and place. And then the neutrinos that were there then have gone, who knows where, you know, expanding out into the universe. Mm-hmm. And that creates the weave then of our matrix. That's a good word for it. Mm-hmm. The matrix, you know, integrated whole. And now I forget the question.
How does it happen that she said that what she said was we align to that field through strategy and authority. How does it happen? And the mechanics of, you know, design, we have other classes for that, actually the howness, but
yeah,
I wonder.
But just very, very briefly, mm-hmm. this, by knowing your design, like I'm a projector. So what that means is I don't have a defined sacral center. If you're not familiar with the centers, then we have to go back to really basic information, and that might be difficult here to do. But there is information, a lot of information available that you can look at. You can see the sacral center next to me in the picture there. Yeah, the little red thing. 70% of people have that defined. They're called generators. They're here to respond with that life energy, with that consistently present life energy to whatever that consistently present life energy is responding to. I'm a projector. I'm here to be splenically aware of when someone's energy is opening to me or not. And if they're open to me and it feels safe and healthy and in the right pattern for me and with the potential for transformational guidance, because projectors are here to guide, then I can respond to the other. And so all of us have a unique construct of our own design that we, through human design, I mean, ultimately, if we were born and allowed to unfold authentically as ourselves, not conditioned by our parents' ideas and our culture's ideas and our teachers and religious leaders and all these different things, there's a good chance we wouldn't need to use something like the human design system, mm-hmm. right? That we would just unfold as ourselves. And in that proper alignment, so that thing we call strategy would be doing its thing, and that thing we call authority would be informing it, we would naturally have access to it because it's there. It's just that throughout our lives, we get distracted. We get pushed away from it by external and internal moments when we've adopted somebody else's belief system, adopted somebody else's authority. Human design says there is no authority outside yourself. That's one of the core elements, that you as a unique being have a unique journey. And by the mechanics of human design, we can help to realign to that so that we aren't using energy on things that are actually just conditioning, something that's distracted us away from our actual purpose here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's very clear.
Yeah. Okay, how about the next one? We have, in human design, we have two crystals, and they're both held together in the magnetic monopole. It's a uniqueness that we'll look at a little bit today. Again, and something that is an attraction. And so we have two unique crystals, a body, a unique design of a form, and a unique design of a personality expression that we call the mind. And these are in juxtaposition to each other. So what that does is it creates the miracle that is us. We are then this microcosm of the universe, which is what I was saying, you know, how here we are with this G center that's holding us together, and we're experiencing ourselves as separate. That I'm a this and you're a that. We aren't just oneness, because I'm not you, you're not me. But the universe began as a singularity and became a this and a thatness. And there's a relationship between those two facts. So we have, or I don't know if I can use the word fact for design and personality crystal, but the premise that we're working from with human design. So we have this fundamental, perfect binary through this neutrino. Remember I was talking about the neutrinos that are moving through all the time, this data potential, and then our crystals of consciousness that are filtering that potential. We stand here and it moves through us and we filter it. And this is magic because we put those two together, the design and the personality, the data potential and the crystal filtering. And then we have consciousness, self-reflected consciousness. I am aware that I am. Which has been part of our problem. Mm-hmm. Because we're aware, we can contemplate being, well, what if I was not that and I was this? And then all of a sudden we wander away from ourselves. Do you ever think a bird, I love watching birds, contemplates, why do I exist? And what if I was a crow instead of a pigeon? No, they don't try to act like another species or another thing. They just are. There's no self-reflection in that we have any awareness of. So, but we do, we have that capacity. And because of that, there's the beauty of it, the magic of it. And there's also the challenge of it because of the conditioning field. Next slide.
Actually, I just saw a question come through, and that last sentence that you wrote, maybe that answers it. What she wrote, same person, what does living the design have to do with that consciousness field, with aligning to it?
Living your design means, see, look here in this image. Mm-hmm. Do you see how there's two beings? Let's pretend the guy on the left is our design and the guy on the right is our personality. If you've had your body graph done, had a foundational reading, then you know that there's these two imprints that happen, one when you're born and one 88 degrees of the sun before you're born, the imprint of the body or form and the imprint of the personality. And they're held together. They're very different. They don't even, the personality is not even aware that there's a form there. It's like going, what? And the form's just doing its thing. And as much as it can, as much as we allow it. And by living our design, by saying, okay, I get that. I'm a projector here, Darshana. And when I've been with human design 12 years now. When I first heard about human design, and I heard that I was a projector and I was a non-energy type, and that I was, quote unquote, not here to work. I'm here to guide others. I'm here to guide others in their use of energy. It completely relaxed me. Like, finally, my truth, which I thought was my failure, that I couldn't live up to the standards of the world. I couldn't be a generator. I couldn't do all those things, or a manifester. And that I actually had a function or a purpose or a truth or an alignment that was, but Darshana, you're just here to go deep into all the things that you love to do. And then when someone's ready to receive your guidance, they'll ask for it. And then if you feel like it, you'll give it to them. And that's enough. And that's what living your design does. It frees you from, in my case, thinking I need to generate or manifest.
Which is brought to us by the consciousness field at various moments.
Yeah, there's everything that we are, our uniqueness, and then there's everything that we're not, which is the consciousness field, but it's also other people. Mm-hmm. Other people come into your aura, and all of a sudden, my husband's a generator. He can come around me, and all of a sudden I feel like I have more energy, and let's go do this and that, and then I run out because I don't have a defined sacral. He keeps going because he does. And then I can break down, my system begins to break down because I keep trying to make it, to make myself be what I'm not. So the conditioning comes from everywhere. Everything that you're not can condition you. There's design crystals in everything. There's design crystals in your plants. There's, we are a construct of design, of form. And so that means that everything we have an awareness of, whether we're conscious of it or not, our system, our awareness, that like our splenic awareness, which is instinctive survival awareness, and our ajna awareness, which is our cognitive mind and our capacity to think and explore ideas, and our emotional awareness, all these things are receiving things all the time, processing it through. So so everything is this binary, and everything is this binary. I mean, everything is this dualism. And the totality is this extraordinary illusion, a vast, vast illusion that is a byproduct of this juxtaposition, of this singularity that suddenly is looking yangish, like energy. When I said we had the yin, and then we had a yin that was more yangish, which is what our personality crystal is. And so these tiny crystals of consciousness that we're endowed with, out of the juxtaposition of those two to each other, the miracle that is you comes forward, it emerges. And we are then this microcosm of the program. We're a microcosm of that duality that we're experiencing, this separateness. And yet, we're a conscious microcosm. We're aware that we are alive. We reflect on it. This is the gift. And the moment that we can really grasp what duality means, that we can see that there's always a this and a that. And then because there's a this and a that, there's always, when those two come in a relational field to each other, something new gets born. Something third is coming forward. And a third something that only exists in the moment of those two in a relationship, just like our design and personality crystal being held together. So we're here until they stop hanging out together and fall away, and we leave our bodies, and they disintegrate.
Beautiful.
So this fundamental duality here is what is powering our totality. And the source that we can say is also what Einstein put into his formula, energy and matter, and that they're juxtaposed. And then because we have energy and matter, and we have a monopole that's attracting that and holding it together, then we live. We live in this form with a uniqueness, and we move. Our cells change, our bodies age, we gain wisdom, and then we move on. So that's that one.
Beautiful.
I was really pleased. I found this last night, this quote that is from Thich Nhat Hanh, because this is such a human design statement. We are here to awaken to the illusion of our separateness. We are here to awaken to ourselves, to be awareness. We're here to awaken. This is an experiment of consciousness in form. Why, Ra says, this is from the Bantu, we are trapped and enthralled in the illusion of our separateness. Yeah, we are. We're enthralled, and I'm me, and this is my suffering and my joy and my purpose and my confusion and my all that. This is a necessary step in the experimentation of whether or not form can be endowed with a unique consciousness. This is what the information that he received, was that this was an experiment. And in actuality, that what we experience is our universe is an unborn child. It's not even born yet. And it's fun if you begin to play with that and think, just like, is there a cell inside my body that has, a whole universe inside that cell? And doesn't even know that I exist, because it's fully engaged in the existence it has inside its cell. And are we simply a little thing a cell inside this unborn child that is the universe? Regardless of what it is, it's beyond us to even comprehend it or do anything about it, because we're here to becoming awakened to that we are separate, we are unique. But Ross says that we're learning at a level we cannot understand. It's not, the learning that we're getting is not something that we can go, oh yeah, I learned this today. It's on such a deep level about awakening to this illusion of our separateness, to being a consciousness in a separateness, in a form. And so this is the beginning of seeing how the form can handle consciousness best. Yeah.
I love that imagery too, the contemplation on, yourself in the totality. And I love that there's so much of us coming to this knowledge and being able to get into that inner truth. Thank you for sharing that with us. I hear a buzzing.
Yeah, my phone's trying to ring. I'm trying to make it go away.
Beautiful.
There's no button that says hang up. Sorry about that.
No problem. Are we ready for the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put this in just so you could, sometimes I'll be using these words and it might be confusing, and looking at this might be confusing too. And that's okay. You don't need to understand it. It's very complex. It's taken me years to understand it. But and some of you may understand it immediately and easily, and that's beautiful too. The Ban and the two, those are the two undifferentiated, unshattered crystals. And they were surrounding, or are surrounding. Do you see how the graph down below where it says the dog, how the triangle is in the middle? The triangle is the center. The triangle is the part of the prime crystal that was there in the beginning, that we are all an aspect of. We all have a crystal in us that is from the original shattering. That's the relationship between, that's why I'm bringing up this whole thing about how we began. Because if we can get that that it's not chaos, that it's not random, that we aren't just born and just, like throw them in the water and see if they can figure out how to swim kind of thing, unless they have good parents or good societies or something. Mm-hmm. That there actually is something very specific that each of us here are to be an expression of, to share with others, because there's others here to share it with. And that it started in the beginning with a center, just like our G center has this center with the magnetic monopole there, holding, or it was the oneness that then became a two-ness, the camel and the dog, which are kind of fun words that Ra used for identifying it, which he said he received from the voice, these words. But the Ban and the two, they were two undifferentiated, unshattered crystals, and the two, T-U-G-H, the two is the prime yin crystal, the most form crystal. It's associated with design crystal, with our matter, with our form, with our yin. And then because of that, then obviously there's a really intrinsic relationship between the design crystal and the neutrino, which has form, right? So there's our consciousness field. And the two is responsible for the entire form construct of the universe. This is our form. This is what we're in, you know. This is this thing that we observe, this vast, amazing universe. And then the prime yang crystal is the Ban. It's associated with our personality crystal. You see how there's a relationship from that center when it became not one, but a two, a biverse, that's the same as what we're holding inside as ourselves. So embedded inside the Ban is the prime magnetic monopole, this thing that's holding this attraction field. Monopoles then are related to matter and exist. The monopoles that we have, they exist in our design crystals only. They don't have a connection to the personality crystals or energy, because personality crystals don't have a form in which the magnetic monopole can embed. That's why we're, again, form consciousness. And that's, again, why our personality, because it gets, you know, teased into this yang aspect that the personality crystal has, you know, the energy, the creative. Again, we can be distracted away from living connected to form consciousness, to our design, living our design, our strategy, and our authority. Next slide. This was a quote, again, I found on the internet, and I thought it was a really cool one. You know, you have two eyes, each composed of 130 million photoreceptor cells. And each one of those cells, in them, there are 100 trillion atoms. And that's more than all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. However, each atom in each cell in each eye formed in the core of a star billions of years ago. And yet, here they are today, being utilized to capture the energy released from that same process, those stars, and their expanding outward, their nuclear fusion that produces the neutrino stream, all to expand the consciousness that is you. We're here to be consciousness in form and to be aware of every time we meet something that can pull us away from ourself. We, you know, the more that you follow your strategy and allow it to be informed by your authority, the more that you're going to be aligned to those stars that were in the original, or the singularity that was the origin, and then this imprinting that we're getting from our own star, the sun, and all these other stars that are out there. You know, I'm going to be teaching next semester the Rave Cosmology course called The Nature of the Stars. It's a really interesting one to understand how much what's outside of our solar system is influencing us as well, our relationship with that. Doesn't seem like it would be so, does it? I mean, here we are on planet Earth. Seems like it's self-contained, and, you know, we see stars at night, but then the sun comes out and we don't. But actually, again, their influence is being felt all the time.
You know, one of the things I wondered about, if you could just real briefly, Darshana, your classes that you're teaching on Bond 2, they're different semesters. Is there a need to start with a particular semester, or could somebody new just jump right into the nature of the stars? Do they have prerequisites?
Yeah, no, they don't. No, you can take any course. In the cosmology courses, you can take any of them in any order, and you can take just one and never take another one. The only reason why you would, other than your own wisdom gaining, if you were moved to take them, would be because by taking all of the courses, you can be certified to become a teacher of the cosmology courses, where you can actually teach them yourselves to, you know, hold a course like in the Bantu, if you studied that and understood it, like I'm doing, you know, in a way with this. This is a mini, a slice of Bantu, and pulling it out of the Bantu and into the understanding of the body graph and the G center.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah. Next slide. If we had looked at the shattering in the moment when we had the singularity and it shattered, there would have been fractal lines, you know, like when you smash a piece of glass and, or like on a window or something, and all of a sudden there's lines going out from the point of impact. And then if you imagine it in a 3D way, you know, because it wasn't a pane of glass, it was a 3D something, then there would be each crystal being, there would be trillions and zillions of these fracturings and fractal lines that they would be moving on. Some would be going left, some going right, up, down, wherever. And we belong to one of them. We have a unique trajectory. That's what we talk about in human design when we talk about trajectory, that we are actually in a movement that's our own movement that began way back then. We've been here since then as a personality crystal. The design crystals, they go back into the earth and get recycled, you could say. I think Ross said that they're never used again. You know, like a design crystal isn't, there's so many that they just keep the next layer coming up. But self-reflected consciousness then is what we have, and this is what we're getting through this construct of form and sort of form, energy form, the personality of the design crystal, and then the data stream, the feed, the consciousness feed that's coming in from the stars, and our capacity for awareness. So this is here, this, the prime magnetic monopole, where it sits within the child, is the greatest of all mysteries, for that is the place of the universal love and eternal oneness. Consciousness, awareness, love, direction, these all forms out of which it can be experienced. And this is out of the Ban. And the Ban is not yang, it's yin. It is form. It's through form. We don't get to understand existence if we don't have a body. Then we're something else. So we find ourselves always wanting to know why. I mean, you heard in my introduction, it's like, I want to understand the whole, what is this existence? And this is what self-reflected consciousness is like. You know, that the moment that we come into this incarnation, the first thing that happens deep within us, you find this, like, for example, in the mystical way, our understanding of this, there is this why. I mean, what is it all about? Some people more than others, some more engaged in the physical life, not contemplating in the same way, different ways. But the passenger does wonder, does ponder. And it's for the experiment of how's it work? How's that going to work? Let's put a consciousness. Let's create the potential for self-reflected consciousness inside of a design that has the possibility for becoming distracted and not staying aligned to its truth. And let's see if awareness can come out of that, because every time we're pulled away from ourselves, and then when we come back, I got a bumblebee in the room, so you'll hear him buzzing around. I'm not sure how he got in here. Yeah, so we're here as consciousness in form, and then we just want to know, well, then what exactly is that? And let's just have the next slide. This is where we'll start next time. We'll start with the G, and inside the G center are two incarnation crosses, completely there. The incarnation cross of the vessel of love, and the Incarnation cross of the Sphinx. And each of these are prime. The Sphinx is about direction, and the vessel is about love. So our existence is held together through this illusion of direction and love. And there's this background program that we've just been looking at that holds this illusion in place and is what is actually providing us with the background for our experiences here on Earth. And that background actually is then movement and form, the vessel and the movement, the direction, the Sphinx. Yeah, so I think that is actually a good place where we can stop, and then on May 16th we'll go diving into this. And again, it'll be a free webinar. You're just welcome to come and bring your questions like you have. That's really wonderful, you know.
We do have another question before we wrap up, if you like.
Sure.
You said that the ban was yang and personality. Now it says on the slide, she says the ban is not yang, it is yin. Could you go back into how Ra said the yang is an illusion that operates out of the yin, and clarify that real briefly?
Yeah, and that does, it can be a bit confusing. Do you want to go back
Absolutely.
to the slide 9?
This one? Oh, 9. Okay.
No, 9.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. The thing is, it is all form, but according to what the information that Ra received was that the yin is our form, right? It's the design crystal. And then the yang is actually, it's associated with our personality crystal, and it's actually yin, but it's a very yangish kind of yin. So we experience the yangness of it, the energy aspect of it. If you think of it as form and movement, or form and energy, then the personality crystal is we experience it as yang, but actually a true yang has not yet evolved in our universe. This is what the child, when the child is born, the universe that is the unborn child, will first be then that we have the potential for an actual yang, according to the information that's available in the Bantu from Ra. So it can be a little confusing, but you can think of the personality as yang because that's how we experience it. But it's actually a very yangish yin, and that everything is yin. And that's why what you can take all that and do with it, you know, because it's otherwise our minds can get caught up in it going, well, what about this? What about that? Mm-hmm. But if we just take it and say, what I'm hearing is this is so deeply a form consciousness field. And so it's about allowing our forms to guide us. And that is dropping into the strategy that this form has and letting that be informed by the authority that this unique design has. And that will then align me to my trajectory, align me to my purpose, my unfoldment, my movement, my unique differentiated experience, and then I actualize as myself. Okay.
Beautiful. The last thing that you mentioned made me think of this, but I'd love to hear your take on, you know, everything happens for a reason. That standard homogenized word phrase. What does that, you know, or that, you know, let's say we all came to design at a certain moment in life, and before design we were living not our truth. We're in the, you know, conditioned aspect of ourselves. So can we maybe give some comfort to the people who have gone through life and are struggling or suffering, and, you know, why this, why now, why me? A little bit to maybe some of our fellow third lines as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get it. we have an idea that for us to feel good, you know, our mind measures, for us to feel good, we need to have this or that. Or, I mean, I can speak from my own neuroses, you know, that the conditioning that I received as a child, and as a result of the family I grew up in, and the not self behavior of the people in the family, led me to have, you know, really strong feelings of abandonment issues, and fear of being, you know, not surviving, and being treated violently and that sort of thing. And so my conditioned self is will try and make, I have an open sacral center with gate 27. I'll try and care for you forever, you know, so that you won't hit me or hurt me or leave me. And because my mind thinks that that's what I need, because when we were children, we probably did need it, you know, if the parent or whoever left us, in this case, in my case, who knows how the child would have survived. We live our lives in our shadow world, you know, in the shadow aspects of existence, with the fears and the anxieties and the confusion and that sort of thing. And what human design is so incredibly useful for is to know that if you just live in the alignment of your energy, no matter how wildly uncomfortable or weird or painful a situation might be. I wondered, did I have that here? I want to maybe read you something.
Okay.
Maybe I can't find it. Oh, it's just I found this thing that I had written a while back, and yeah, this may help. This is called The Space Between by Projector Splenissima. I'm a projector with splenic authority. The moment that she lost her understanding was the moment she crashed. Most people get to experience crashes in the safety of a car or an airplane or something that helps to explain the violence. The car or the plane is obviously hurtling through space and massive enough to usually navigate around all the potential threats or simply scare those bugaboos off. But she was wearing the form of a young girl, soft and quickly bruised heart that had not withstood many violent acts, at least not enough of them to teach her to be alert to them. So this young woman child was an openness to life and others, and she moved through the world with a sense of basic trust. So that the day caught her by surprise and entered the heart of this girl child with a piercing for which there could be no cure. And this piercing, this random violence, stopped the sparkling dance of joy and aliveness and crashed her into a darkness that was deep into the black abyss of horror and hopelessness. Which one was it? I mean, which time? Reaching blindly into this inky blindness, deaf to all but the chaotic beating of her heart and this screaming of other lost souls already past or yet to come. There were no words for this, no cause that carried the vastness of this betrayal of trust, just ice underneath that slid and tilted her to her knees, bloodying her bones and filling her lungs with poison. The crash is always followed by an unfolding alignment. She stands at the shore of a luminous black water. The light is starkly white and there are no shadows. There is silence, just the vast quiet of lapping water, which she slides her feet into. And there is warmth in this velvet water and a cooling nourishment, softly caressing her form, cradling it, nourishing it with its absolute stillness. So again, slowly, the chaos from the random violence drifts away, washed by tears and the tides. And she opens her being again to this world of humans and their busy noise and their aliveness and pleasure and pain. And the path carries her forward, and she has no choice because she can only follow the pulse. It sings to her with the sadness and the love and the depth of being. So, yeah, it's hard. It can really be hard. And each, thing that happens for a reason, I guess. How do we gain wisdom? How do we reach that place where I, with deep compassion and empathy, can be with another being and share my experiences? We need support in surviving, because sometimes it doesn't feel like you can survive. Sometimes it's so brutal and so wounding and so traumatic that I went through a really tough time at one point, and after I'd learned about my design, and I would lie in bed at night, I'd pull a pillow around me and I'd say, am I recognized? Am I invited? Is it safe? Is it healthy? And that's all I can do. Safe and healthy. If they recognize me and it feels safe and it's healthy, okay, I can take a step. I can breathe one more breath. And the beauty that human design gives us is something that we can use to orient, because it is so chaotic. Eventually, it stops being chaos, and it can still be disturbance. It can still be, hard, really hard.
Still be very painful, but
yeah,
at least there's some light that guides your way.
yeah. And to know, we're imprinted as perfection of that moment. The moment you were born, there was nothing distorted in that moment. It was perfection. It was the stars shining through, moving through, and imprinting you and saying, you get to be this time. And yeah, it's hard because we can reflect on it and think, but it could be different.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, I know we're going on a bit, but one of the things that I realized at one point by learning about my nodes, mm-hmm. and thinking how I had grown up wanting there to be peace in the world and I wanted to go, and I've got the 30, the 19 and the 41, I wanted to go and help take care of the needs of others and help them, all these things, and have it end. So we'd all be at peace and at rest. And then I thought, then what on earth would this design do? I'm here. I'm here to be of service to those who are open for transformation and aligning, Mm-hmm. We're here in the play. So, yeah, to trust that. And that's why I wrote that about basic trust. If we can just trust, whatever that word means, bring your awareness to the fact that you are a unique energetic flow, unique and specific and completely correct. No mistake.
Even the decisions that you made in the past when you didn't know about design, there are no mistakes.
Yeah. Imagine the value that is for us to share with somebody.
Huge.
Before they do that, make decision, mm-hmm. It's like, if invited or if whatever, aligning to your design so that you never tread on the right for each individual to walk their own wonderfully weird and wounded way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Darshana.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got emotional, but I'm an emotional projector. My friends,
you are.
Everyone knows if you've been in in my webinars or classes, when those sensitive things come up, and as a 3, it's good to share with other people what sometimes doesn't work. from experience. So thank you for sharing. That was a wonderful story. And I was also, because I know a little bit more about your story than what you shared today, my heart just goes out to you, and thank you for being the wonderfully warm and open-hearted person that you are. I know you're splenic, but the caring that I feel from you, you know, and anytime we've met in person or on calls, you are very giving, and thank you for bringing your transformation to us, to me, of course, personally, but also to the people that have been joining us today. Let's see. I don't see any more questions, so I just wanted to thank you so much for being here, and to everyone who is listening on the download, to go ahead, and if you'd like to see more of Darshana and her presentations on love, particularly the G Center and our direction, stay tuned for the next webinar in May. So thank you so much, Darshana.
Yeah, thank you, all of you, for being here and letting me do what I'm here to do. You know, so
it's nice to have that connection and that communion with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.